Welcome to Important Updates, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. You need to watch this if you struggle with believing in comebacks, because every once in a while, a company does something so unexpected, it forces the entire world to pay attention. What Huawei just pulled off is nothing short of astonishing. It's the kind of turnaround that tech legends are made of. And it's sending shockwaves through the industry. For years, the company was written off, hammered by U.S. sanctions that cut off Google services and advanced chips. Many believed Huawei's best days were behind them, and the world watched as their global smartphone market share plummeted. Most thought their days of making high-end smartphones were over. Competitors moved in, and even loyal fans started to lose hope. But then came the Mate 60 Pro. With a surprise homegrown Kirin chip. It was a bold statement. Huawei was back in the game and they weren't playing by anyone else's rules. That was Huawei's way of saying, "We're not done yet." It was a rallying cry, not just for the company, but for its fans and the entire Chinese tech industry. Fast forward to today, January 18, 2026, the Mate 80 launches. The anticipation is electric, and the world is watching to see what Huawei has accomplished. This isn't just another phone, it's the result of years of relentless R&D and a total supply chain overhaul. Every component, every line of code, has been reimagined to overcome the impossible. On paper, it looks like a device built with zero restrictions. It's packed with cutting-edge hardware, innovative software, and features that rival the best in the world. The Mate 80 is now the center of every tech conversation. Reviewers, analysts, and fans can't stop talking about it, and everyone wants to know if it lives up to the hype. How did Huawei pull this off? What's inside this phone? Is it really as good as the latest iPhone or Galaxy? These are the questions on everyone's mind. We're about to break down the sanctions, Huawei's journey, and the Mate 80 itself. We'll look at the obstacles, the innovations, and the strategies that made this comeback possible. This isn't just a phone review, it's a pivotal moment in tech history. It's a turning point that could reshape the global smartphone landscape for years to come. It's a story of defiance and determination, and whether you're a fan or not, you have to respect the comeback. Against all odds, Huawei has forced the world to take notice once again. The Mate 80 is a major plot twist in global tech competition. It's a reminder that innovation can thrive even under pressure, and that no giant is ever truly out of the fight. If you push a company with enough resources into a corner, it might just build its own way out. Sometimes adversity is the greatest motivator for change. Let's dive into how Huawei changed the rules of the game and what it means for the future of technology. So, let's get into it. The story of Huawei's unbelievable return is just getting started. To truly grasp the significance of the Mate 80, we need to rewind and look at the immense challenges Huawei faced in recent years, especially the impact of international sanctions. In 2019, the U.S. government placed Huawei on the Entity List, a move that effectively blocked American companies from doing business with them, cutting off access to crucial technology and partnerships. The first major blow was the loss of Google services. No Play Store, Gmail, Maps, or YouTube. For a global smartphone brand, this was a devastating setback. For users outside China, where Google apps are essential, this was a deal-breaker. Suddenly, Huawei phones became much less attractive to millions of customers worldwide. As a result, Huawei's international phone sales plummeted almost overnight, with retailers and carriers pulling their devices from shelves. Then came the hardware ban. Huawei was cut off from advanced chips made by TSMC and Qualcomm, two of the world's leading semiconductor companies. The goal of these sanctions was clear: to halt Huawei's technological progress and sever their ties to the global supply chain, isolating them from the latest innovations. Suddenly, Huawei couldn't manufacture its own Kirin chips or purchase the latest 5G chips, leaving them stuck with outdated technology and dwindling resources. Around the world, analysts and the media assumed this was a knockout punch. Few believed Huawei could survive such a blow. Huawei's market share outside China crashed, and their new phones were forced to rely on older stockpiled 4G chips, making them less competitive. The expectation was clear: Huawei's once mighty smartphone division would slowly fade away, unable to keep up with global rivals. The sanctions created a technological blockade, locking Huawei out of the world's most advanced hardware and software. For a while, it truly looked like the end of the road for Huawei's smartphone ambitions. But instead of giving up, Huawei regrouped. Their engineers and staff doubled down, determined to find a way forward despite the odds. The future looked bleak, and the challenges seemed insurmountable, but the story was far from over. Huawei's spirit of innovation and resilience was just beginning to show. Here's how they fought back, and why the Mate 80 became a symbol of their comeback. When disaster struck, Huawei didn't back down. Instead, they chose to fight back. With the power of engineering and relentless innovation, the company faced unprecedented challenges, but rather than retreat, they doubled down on their strengths. Huawei made a bold pivot to self-reliance, deciding to rebuild their entire technology stack from the ground up. This meant reimagining everything, from software to hardware, and taking control of their own destiny. Their first move was to accelerate the development of Harmony OS and Huawei mobile services, rapidly building a brand new app ecosystem. This allowed them to reduce dependence on foreign technology and create a seamless experience for users. Huawei invested billions into expanding App Gallery, Pedal Maps, and other core services, focusing on China's massive and loyal user base. Their goal was to make these platforms indispensable for millions of people. On the hardware front, they placed a huge bet on China's domestic chip industry. Working quietly with SMIC, they pushed the boundaries of chip manufacturing, developing new processes in secret to stay ahead. Closing the chip gap was a monumental challenge, but Huawei poured unprecedented resources into research and development, hiring thousands of top engineers and scientists to drive innovation forward. The company's identity transformed, becoming centered on survival, resilience, and technological independence. Every employee understood the stakes and the mission. Their founder, Ren Zhengfei, inspired the company by framing the struggle as a battle for existence, a fight not just for Huawei, but for the future of Chinese technology. The message was clear: Huawei would not only survive, but emerge stronger, more innovative, and more independent than ever before. Quietly, behind the scenes and away from the spotlight, Huawei's teams worked tirelessly, setting the stage for a remarkable comeback. This was a high-stakes, all-in gamble. Against the odds, Huawei's grand strategy paid off, and the world took notice. Enter the Huawei Mate 80, the phone that shouldn't exist. It's a premium flagship, rivaling Apple and Samsung in design and build. The real story is inside, the new Kirin 9100 chip. This chip delivers top-tier performance and full 5G, proving Huawei cracked the code on advanced chip making. The Mate 80 also introduces two-way satellite calling, actual voice calls from anywhere, not just emergency texts. It's a feature no other mainstream phone offers. The phone runs Harmony OS Next, now fully independent from Android. This marks Huawei's complete software independence. The Mate 80 is the physical proof of Huawei's self-reliance strategy. It's not just a phone, it's a statement. Against all odds, Huawei built a flagship that changes the game. The Kirin 9100 is the Mate 80's secret weapon. Built with SMIC, it's likely on an enhanced 7nm process, an incredible leap for China's chip industry. Despite no access to the latest EUV machines, Huawei and SMIC pulled off a near miracle. Performance-wise, it rivals the latest Snapdragon and Apple chips. Everyday use in gaming, smooth, fast, uncompromised. The integrated 5G modem means Huawei is no longer dependent on foreign tech for connectivity. This chip is more than hardware. It's a symbol of technological sovereignty. It powers Huawei's comeback and sends a message to the world. The Kirin 9100 proves that innovation can thrive under pressure. It's the engine behind Huawei's return to the flagship race. If the Kirin 9100 is the heart, Harmony OS Next is the soul. No more Android under the hood. This is a ground-up, independent OS. Huawei now controls everything: chip, kernel, interface. The result? Smoother performance, better battery, and tighter security. It's a vertical integration model like Apple's, but for Huawei's world, the big challenge apps. Huawei invested billions to get Chinese developers on board. WeChat, Alipay, and more are now native. In China, Harmony OS Next is a complete ecosystem. Internationally, the lack of Google apps is still a hurdle. But Harmony OS Next is designed for all devices: phones, tablets, TVs, even cars. Its seamless device integration is a unique selling point. Huawei's ecosystem is now a real alternative, at least in its home market. How does the Mate 80 stack up against the iPhone 17 Pro and Galaxy S26 Ultra? In specs, display, and build, it's right there with the best. The Kirin 9100 matches Apple and Qualcomm's top chips in real-world use. The X-Mage camera system is a highlight, stunning photos, especially in low light, and powerful zoom. Two-way satellite calling is a true game-changer for remote communication. Harmony OS integration makes the experience seamless if you're in the Huawei ecosystem. In China, it's a complete package. Internationally, the lack of Google services is still the biggest drawback. Hardware-wise, the Mate 80 is a true flagship contender. The Mate 80's launch is shaking up the global tech industry. Sanctions aimed to cripple Huawei, but instead they forced it to become self-sufficient. Now, there's a parallel, non-US tech supply chain emerging. US companies lose a major customer, and others may follow Huawei's blueprint for independence. This could accelerate a split in the tech world, US-centric versus China-led ecosystems. The era of a single global standard may be ending. Huawei's story is now a model for surviving and thriving under sanctions. The Mate 80 challenges the effectiveness of tech sanctions as a geopolitical tool. Instead of containment, the result is a stronger, independent competitor. The tech world has changed, and Huawei's comeback is proof. What's next for Huawei? The Mate 80's success is just the beginning. Huawei will likely dominate China's smartphone market, reclaiming ground from Apple. International expansion remains tough without Google services, but Huawei may focus on markets where its brand and features stand out. Harmony OS and advanced chips will power not just phones, but cars, cloud, and telecom. Huawei is now a diversified tech giant, not just a phone maker. Its independence in chips and software will boost all its business divisions. The Mate 80 is a lesson in resilience and reinvention. In tech, today's underdog can become tomorrow's leader. Huawei has redrawn the industry map, and the world is watching its next move. The future looks brighter and more independent than ever for Huawei.